You won't believe some of the trucks America has made. There's one that looks like a spaceship with a bubble for a driver's seat. While normal trucks were just trying to haul stuff from A to B, these crazy machines look like their designers were on another planet. Some of these trucks are so weird, you'd swear they escaped from a sci-fi movie set. Today, we're counting down the top 20 weirdest American trucks ever built. And trust us, things are gonna get bizarre. Every single one of these weird trucks has a story behind it. Some were trying to be futuristic, others were just obsessed with doing one specific job. And a few, well, we honestly have no idea what they were thinking. Before we get rolling though, click that subscribe button and let's find out more about these mechanical misfits that should never have existed. Starting our countdown at number 20 is the Kenworth Bubblenose. The Kenworth Bubblenose was seriously freaky for the 1950s. Picture this. Every truck on the road is square as a box, with these giant flat front ends. Then this thing rolls up looking like someone attached a bubble bath to an engine. Nobody was making curved trucks back then. Nobody. This thing stuck out like a sore thumb wherever it went. But here's the crazy part. It wasn't just weird for the sake of being weird. That rounded design actually helped drivers see better and cut through the air more smoothly. The whole cab sat right over the engine too, which made it way shorter than other trucks. Great for city driving. But man, imagine pulling up to a truck stop in this space-age oddball when everyone else is driving what basically looks like mobile brick walls. You'd never hear the end of it from other drivers. At number 19, we have the utterly bizarre GMC Lunarelle of 1955. The GMC Lunarelle is probably the closest thing to a UFO that's ever been called a delivery van. This thing was so ahead of its time, it's ridiculous. While every other delivery vehicle in the 50s was basically a shoebox on wheels, GMC rolled out this smooth, curvy thing that looked like it belonged in a movie about the year 2000. Now get this, it had this massive wraparound windshield that must have cost a fortune to make back then. And inside, a completely flat floor from front to back. Doesn't sound impressive now, but in 1955, that was mind-blowing. It even had sliding doors when nobody else was even doing that. They even named it Lunarelle, like lunar. Get it? Because it was so space-aged. But we guess America wasn't ready for space fans in the 50s because they never actually mass-produced it. Too weird, too soon. Well, their loss. Now this thing would have turned heads for decades. Coming in at number 18, we find the strangely elegant Diamond T Model 950 of 1951. Okay, the Diamond T Model 950 wasn't weird because it was ugly. It was weird because it was way too pretty to be a truck. I mean, imagine showing up to do construction work wearing a tuxedo. Now, that's basically what this truck was doing. This heavy-duty work truck had no business looking this good. It had this gorgeous chrome grille, sleek lines, and more shiny bits than some luxury cars of the time. Other trucks were basic work machines with all the charm of a cinder block. Meanwhile, the Diamond T shows up looking like it's dressed for a night at the opera. They didn't call it the Cadillac of trucks for nothing. This fancy beast was hauling logs and construction materials while looking like it should be parked outside a five-star hotel. It'd be like if today's dump trucks were designed by Ferrari. Completely bonkers, but kind of awesome at the same time. Rolling in at number 17 is the Monster Freightliner Powerliner. The Freightliner Powerliner was an absolute beast. This 1970s monster was so big and powerful, it was almost scary to see one coming down the highway. Most trucks back then were built just to do the job without any extras, but the Powerliner went all out with some ridiculous power. The weird thing was, despite being built like a tank, it was actually pretty comfortable inside. That was super unusual. Back then, truck cabs were basically just metal boxes with a seat. Nobody cared if drivers were comfortable or not. Now this truck was basically overkill for most jobs. It was like using a sledgehammer to hang a picture. Way more power than you'd ever need. But man, did it make an impression on the road. Trucks would see this thing coming and just move out of the way. Number 16 on our countdown features the futuristic Peterbilt 372. The Peterbilt 372 from the 80s looked like it teleported in from the future. When American trucks were all about being big, square, and tough-looking, the 372 showed up with a rounded cab and this massive wraparound windshield that made it look like a spaceship. It looked more like a European truck than an American one, which was super weird at the time. American truck drivers wanted their rigs looking tough and manly, not sleek and futuristic. They wanted trucks that scared other drivers, not ones that made them curious. The cab was positioned right over the engine, which was becoming rare in America, even though it was common in Europe. Seeing one of these on the highway was like spotting a UFO among normal vehicles. You do a double take every time. Our number 15 spot belongs to the no-nonsense Autocar DC-75T. The Autocar DC-75T from the 60s didn't even try to look good. This thing was built like a brick, all sharp angles and brute force. It looked more like a piece of construction equipment than something meant for the highway. What made it really stand out was how tall and imposing it was. The cab sat way up high, and it had this massive grille up front that looked like it could plow through a brick wall. Now, one cool feature was a tilting cab that flipped forward for engine access. Pretty advanced for its time. This truck was built for quarries and construction sites, and it showed. Driving an Autocar DC-75T was like announcing to the world, "I don't care how I look, I'm here to work." It wasn't winning any beauty contests, but it could haul loads that would make other trucks cry for mercy. Landing at number 14 is the box-like GMC Astro 95 from 1969. You know what the GMC Astro 95 looked like? A freaking shoebox on wheels. Seriously. And while all the other semis had these long, impressive hoods, the Astro 95 shows up with this flat face that stops like it ran into a brick wall. Zero personality in the front. The truck had this massive windshield that wrapped around like some sci-fi movie prop. Some truckers thought it was cool, but most old-school guys hated it. They'd be like, "What am I supposed to do with this spaceship? Where's the truck part?" Sure, it could haul stuff just fine, but you'd never catch the cool kids driving one. The Astro was that weird kid at school who's technically smart, but nobody wants to hang out with. Functional? Yeah. Something you'd be proud to drive? Hell no. Cruising into the number 13 spot is a Kenworth K100 Aerodyne from 1976. Oh man, the K100 Aerodyne. This thing screams 1970s in the best and worst ways possible. Some Kenworth exec must have been sitting around and thinking, "You know what? Let's slap what looks like a tiny mobile home on top of our trucks." The crazy part? It actually kind of worked. They put these skylight windows in the top and made it tall enough that drivers didn't have to crawl around like rats. Some of these cabs had bunk beds that didn't feel like sleeping in a prison cot. Revolutionary stuff back then. The shape was supposed to be aerodynamic, which basically meant weird looking in the 1970s. Other truckers would pull up at stops like, "Dude, what is that thing on top of your cab? Are you living in there or something?" And honestly, compared to regular truck cabs, you kind of were living in luxury. Taking the number 12 position is the white Freightliner cabover engine from 1964. The 64 white Freightliner cabover looks like it got rear-ended and they just never fixed the front. There's just nothing there. The cab sits right on the front axle like somebody forgot to finish building it. And get this, they made it out of aluminum when everybody else was using proper American steel. It was super light though, which meant you could haul more stuff without breaking weight limits. The real kicker was the tilting cab. The entire front of the truck flipped forward to get to the engine. First time you saw it happen, you'd think the truck was having some kind of mechanical breakdown. Now sliding into our number 11 spot is the fancy REO Gold Comet from the 1950s. The REO Gold Comet is what happens when a work truck gets dressed up for prom. This thing had no business looking as good as it did. Work trucks in the 50s were supposed to be ugly, uncomfortable, and make you question your career choices. Then the Gold Comet rolls up with this chrome grille that belonged on a Cadillac and interior comfort that made other truck drivers jealous. It's like it was built by people who actually realized that humans had to sit in that darn thing all day. It was the truck equivalent of bringing a supermodel to a construction site. Beautiful, out of place, and making everyone else look bad by comparison. Stomping in at number 10 is the absolutely monstrous Oshkosh M911. Now the Oshkosh M911 isn't a truck, it's a freaking dinosaur with wheels. This beast was built to haul tanks and military equipment, and it looks exactly like something designed by guys who blow stuff up for a living. This thing is so massive, it makes a regular semi look like a toy. It's got 8 wheels just on the tractor, not counting the trailer. And the engine? Lord have mercy. You could hear this monster coming from a half-mile away. Sounds like a dragon with indigestion. The M911 could hold 68 tons. That's like pulling a whole neighborhood behind you. Nobody bought these things to look cool or to save gas. They bought them to move stuff that nothing else could move. It's the truck equivalent of that huge dude at the gym who can't buy regular shirts because his arms don't fit. Pure, excessive American muscle. Our number 9 spot belongs to the logger's dream, the Pacific P-16. The Pacific P-16 looks like what happens when a monster truck and a bulldozer have a baby. This 70s beast was built for one job only, dragging massive trees out of forests. The tires on this bad boy were taller than most men. The cab sat up so high that drivers needed a stepladder just to reach the door. You don't climb into a P-16, you ascend to it, like reaching a mountaintop. The front end had this crazy protective grille that looked like medieval battle armor. This wasn't for style points. Trees would literally smack into this thing all day, and it needed to take the beating. Now, regular trucks would have been crushed to bits, doing what the P-16 did for breakfast. This was the Paul Bunyan of trucks. Massive, powerful, and right at home in the forest. Coming in at number 8 is a military-tough Marmon Harrington from 1939. The Marmon Harrington is what you'd get if you asked your grandpa to design a truck during wartime. It was built back when men were men, and trucks were basically rolling fortresses. This 1939 beast had 3 axles when most trucks made do with 2. Why? Because the military doesn't ask for directions. They just drive through whatever's in the way. Mud, rivers, mountains. The Marmon Harrington said yes please to all of it. What's wild is how adaptable this thing was. They'd configure it in different ways depending on what the army needed. Like truck Legos, but designed to survive a war. They built these things so tough that some are still running today. Not bad for a truck designed when Superman was still a new comic book character. Plowing into the number 7 position is the brutal FWD snowplow. The FWD snowplow looks like something a kid would draw if you said, make a truck that can fight snow monsters. This 1957 beast wasn't designed to look pretty. It was built to punch winter right in the face. This monster had a steel blade up front so massive, you'd think it was compensating for something. The cab sat up crazy high like a throne made of steel. They built it tall so drivers could see over snowdrifts that would bury a normal vehicle. It's the truck equivalent of bringing a battleship to a yacht party. Total overkill, completely ridiculous, and absolutely perfect for the job it needed to do. If the abominable snowman had nightmares, this truck was in them. Claiming our number 6 spot is the all-business International Transstar 2. The International Transstar 2 seems like it was designed by someone who hated curves. This thing is nothing but straight lines and right angles. Now, when other manufacturers started making their trucks looking kinda nice in the 70s, International was like, nope, our trucks will be a perfect rectangle on wheels. Thank you very much. The Transstar 2 looked like they started with a shoebox and just scaled it up. The cab was as basic as dirt. No comfort features, no style. Just a metal box for the driver to sit in while hauling stuff. It's like they built a truck specifically to make the drivers appreciate their time off. It was practical, reliable, and about as stylish as a cinder block. Function 1, form 0. Our number 5 spot goes to the oddly proportioned White 3000 cab-over engine. The White 3000 from the 50s looks like it got into a fight with a wall and lost its face. Now there's just nothing in front of the cab. It stops dead where the windshield begins, like they ran out of truck before finishing it. In the 1950s, trucks were supposed to have these majestic long hoods. It was like the truck's version of a peacock's feathers. The bigger the hood, the more impressive the truck. Then the White 3000 shows up with no hood at all. It's like showing up to a bodybuilding competition with no arms. But here's the kicker. This weird design lets the truck pull longer trailers without exceeding length limits. It was actually super practical. But in the 50s, practical wasn't sexy. It didn't help that climbing into the cab was like scaling a vertical wall. Form followed function all right, and both looked pretty strange. Now, bulldozing its way to number 4 is the tough as nails International Paystar 5000. The International Paystar 5000 looks like it was designed for the apocalypse. This isn't a truck, it's a rolling fortress. The designers clearly thought, what if we built a truck that could survive the end of the world? Now, this beast sits so high off the ground, you practically need climbing gear to get into the cab. The front end has this massive industrial grille that looks like it could chew through concrete. Nothing delicate or pretty about it, just raw, brutal functionality. While other manufacturers were adding little creature comforts to their trucks, International doubled down on making the Paystar look like it eats other trucks for breakfast. It's the truck equivalent of that guy at the construction site who doesn't wear a coat in winter and calls everyone else soft. Pure testosterone on wheels, designed for the kind of work that makes normal trucks cry for their mommies. Squeaking into the number 3 spot is the stumpy Ford C-Series from 1957. The Ford C-Series looks like God started making a truck but got distracted halfway through and just said, that's probably enough truck. There's no hood. The cab just sits right on top of the front wheels like it fell from the sky and landed there. Now, this 1957 oddball stood out like a sore thumb next to the stylish, long-hooded trucks of the era. It's like everyone else showed up to prom in tuxedos, and the C-Series came in gym shorts. The proportions are so weird, it almost looks like a truck cartoon. The funniest part? The high seating position and huge windows were actually great for city driving. Delivery guys love being able to see everything around them. But on the highway next to real trucks, the C-Series looked like it got its front end chopped off in some tragic truck accident. It's the stubby little bulldog of the truck world. Not pretty, but it gets the job done. Rolling into our number 2 spot is the aptly named GMC Cracker Box. Now, the GMC Cracker Box is the perfect name because that's exactly what it looks like. A literal box of crackers someone slapped wheels on. It has got to be the squarest vehicle ever made. They clearly designed it with nothing but a ruler. Now, the cab was so tiny and cramped that drivers felt like sardines. Worse, they put this tiny box directly over a hot, noisy engine. I mean, imagine trying to drive while sitting on top of a running lawnmower in a phone booth. That was the Cracker Box experience. Now, the entire thing looks disproportionate. Like someone took a normal truck cab and squished it in a trash compactor. Other truck drivers would point and laugh when these things pulled into truck stops. "Who shrunk your truck, buddy?" Even the guys who drove them hated them, but they were great for tight city streets where bigger trucks couldn't go. It's like the truck world's version of a really useful but incredibly ugly tool. Nobody wants to be seen with it, but dang it, sometimes it's exactly what you need. And finally, claiming our number 1 spot as the absolute weirdest American truck ever made is the International C470 Transstar. Now, the International C470 Transstar is the king of weird trucks. This thing is so strange looking, it makes everything else on our list seem normal. Imagine taking a perfectly normal truck, removing all the curves, squashing the front end flat, then stretching the cab up like taffy. Now, that's the Transstar. This monstrosity earned the nickname Box on Wheels, and boy, did it deserve it. There's not a single curved line anywhere on this truck. It's like the designers were allergic to anything that wasn't a perfect 90-degree angle. If you gave a 5-year-old a ruler and said, "Draw me a truck," you'd get something more stylish than the Transstar. The worst part had to be for the poor drivers. The cab sat directly on top of the engine, turning the driver's seat into a combination sauna and rock concert. The noise and heat were unbearable on long hauls. Drivers would arrive at their destinations looking like they just spent 8 hours in a washing machine. International clearly thought, who needs comfort or style when you can have maximum cargo space? It's like they designed the entire truck around the trailer, then suddenly remembered, oh yeah, they needed a place for the driver and just slapped on whatever they had lying around. The Transstar proves that sometimes going all in on function over form is a terrible idea. Sure, it could haul freight, but at what cost? Your dignity? Your hearing? Your will to live? No wonder these things disappeared from the roads as soon as drivers had literally any other option. The International C470 Transstar isn't just the weirdest American truck ever built. It's a rolling monument to what happens when engineers forget that actual humans need to drive their creations. So, what did you think of these mechanical monstrosities? Which one of these weird trucks would you actually want to drive? Drop a comment below with your favorite weird truck from the list. We're dying to know which one you guys think is the craziest. Was it the bubble-nosed Kenworth, the Box on Wheels Transstar, or maybe that ridiculous cracker box that looked like it got squished in a garbage compactor? Oh, by the way, if you enjoyed this video, do us a solid and smash that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you're into weird vehicles, hit subscribe and that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Keep on trucking.